Yeah, you don't mess with open portals. Just like the other day, what they did at Notre Dame when they were in there. That one priest said something in front of this old door that took his ankh looking thing and hit the door and called it a portal, telling it to open. What what are we doing opening portals as believers? No, you don't do that. That's what they do at CERN. They're ripping a fabric in what divides us and allowing these demonics to come through. Yeah. So we have to be very careful. And that's why you have to pray, we had to fast and pray and ask, ask the Most High, Yahuwah, to take and remove the spirits from our land, like the spirit of Aphrodite, who says, I am a man, I am a woman, I am a woman, I am a man. Her priests were men that would cut off their genitals and be proud of it and dance around her temple and stuff. This was going on way back then even. But we pray to remove that spirit, remove the spirit of Baal, Moloch, the child sacrifices, remove all of that stuff.
Jezebel, yeah.
Yeah. And it will be done. And we'll call on the powers of heaven is what we'll call on.
Yeah. Like we need to, because these people or these demonics, they're no longer people. They've been taken over. Or we know some of them might not even been people to begin with, because we're not alone on this earth.
No.
Who you think human beings are probably not human beings or swapped out. I don't have any tangible proof about a lot of it, but there's too many references to different races, elves,
No, elves are not, they're not, no, man, that comes from Nordic mythology. Elves are not, there's two groups of elves. To them, there were the nice ones, they're more humanoid looking, which even evil ones were, but there were evil elves too. So, but overall, the elves, I don't know if they're, I don't know. It's hard to say what they were, if they existed. That's all kind of speculation.
Oh yeah.
But it's a possibility. But you remember that some of the Nephilim survived the flood. The Ark of Gilgamesh. The Ark of Gilgamesh, the actual ark that Ron Wyatt found is more likely the Ark of Gilgamesh. And that is the ark that the Nephilims had survived on. So yeah, it's because remember when the Israelites went into the land of Canaan and spied on them, and they saw these giant people that they're grasshoppers compared to them. So that's another evident that some of the Nephilim survived. I believe also in Genesis chapter 6, I think verse 4 talks about that also, and also in the book of Enoch. But however, their bloodlines were passed through, and there's people today that's probably in control that have Nephilim bloodlines, and the Nephilims do not like humans. They actually despise us. And in fact, there's a lot concerning that stuff, but I'll wait till, yeah, we'll figure it out. But anyways, on the Nephilium, their bloodline still survived. In fact, the priests that went into the temple, they went ahead and they actually took over the temple and posed as the Hebrew priest, and they exiled the Levites to Qumran, where the Dead Sea Scrolls are, and that's where the defile of the temple came in. That's when Jesus told the Pharisees that you know not the scriptures, when they asked the question, does a man or does a woman, I'll paraphrase this, make it short, having been married to 7 brothers, when she dies, who is she married to? And Yeshua responded to them saying, you know not the scriptures. And it is written that you shall become like the angels, not given in marriage. There's only one place that that's spoken of. That is not anywhere in the 66 canon. It is in the book of Enoch. Just like in the book of Jude, verses 13, 14, and 15 are pretty much directly from the book of Enoch. The apostles and Yeshua recited things out of the book of Enoch. So if you want to challenge it, just call it a history book. Well, it actually passes the test of being scripture. So, but anyways, back to the ones that came out of Rashai that pretended to be Hebrew that took over the temple. They're the ones that actually sacrificed Christ, that they murdered. They hung Christ on the cross, Yahuwah. And they were not actually Yahudim. They were a bloodline of the Nephilim. They tried to disrupt Christ in, his salvation. They thought they were doing that.
Yeah, in order for someone to sit there and listen to the torture of what's going through, and because I listened to neurologists saying how the spikes went through that certain area that was really painful, that he had to lift himself up to get a breath and go back down. But just to sit there and listen to that torture, which they did, you're right, you can't be of God and tolerate that without cutting it down or having some sort of mercy.
Yeah, you can't. If you're, I just can't see how any human being could do that to somebody. Hurting children, hurting other people unnecessarily. Even we try to avoid hurting people as much as possible, actually. There's no sense in it. But there's some people out there, I'm telling you, the Nephilim bloodline's out there. Because it's even written that there's chaff among us. So that's why Yahuwah allows the wheat and chaff to grow together, because if they take it down, they're going to take the wheat down too.
It exists in our society of, I feel, a lot of the evil one. Like, for example, take a look at us. You know how easy it would be, us, the guys that go, not you and me in particular, but the guys that go out and go hunting or go just shooting for 7,000 or 700 yards for just shift the giggles and say I shot, or go shoot it for a weekend. You know how many of those guys could have taken out all these leaders, politicians, the Schumers, the Pelosi's and all that we could have easily just sent to God ourselves, that we have the restraint to not to. That they've done hundreds. I mean, your daughter-in-law, my uncle. I mean, my mother's aunts. It goes down the line for both of us, and for the rest of the world that they've killed due to this vaccine, or due to this poison. Sorry, vaccine. If you actually look at the proper definition, actually is going against a disease. This or curing the disease. This does not do either one of those. There's no proof of it.
There's not in a lot of people. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say there's no. How could Pfizer and all the other ass wipes be immune from being taken if if there is repercussion? You need to. Everybody else is liable. You're liable for your work, dude.
Yeah,
you put your car together. You're reliable.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody.
And the thing is, what happened to the flu?
It took a vacation for 2 years.
It went away. Everybody, we were wearing masks. Those masks don't help. I paint a lot of cars. And those particulates are bigger than a virus particulate. Virus particulate is 0.3. Those are probably about 0.4, 45.0 mask. Anything above 60 microns, it will stop. One of my friends was trying to hang out in the paint booth with me and put one of those masks on a few years back, way before COVID. He's like, this thing ain't working, man. I got to get out of here. They don't work. They do not work. Period.
From experience, it's right here is where you're going to get the worst coming through. Plus, and when you're painting, because I did the same thing when I was in construction. I go, oh, they said, put on a mask. Why? So I could suffocate myself because I knew I couldn't breathe back then. And then you could smell the product. You're smelling it. There's no point of wearing the mask.
Yeah, if you can smell it. Yeah, because when I put my regular paint carbon filter on my mask, you don't smell anything. That's because it's cleaning it out through the carbon filter. You don't smell anything. But you take that mask off, it's like, woo. Yeah. So those masks, they're a joke. They leak. They don't work. Besides that, if you really want to seal yourself from a virus, you have to put on a whole hood. You have to pressurize the hood with a filter. You have to have the UV light right above your face. When you watch the movies, that's a UV light. UV light kills viruses because your eyes are not protected. The virus will go right into your eyes. There's no protection. Nothing. So
Yeah.
go figure.
That's another thing that was meme going around, dude.
Huh?
What'd you say?
I said, you gotta wear a mask.
There was another thing going around. You know, they showed like the different variations of painter with a painter mask. Then they showed a chemical guy with a chemical mask. Then they showed a person, a biological warfare, area, and it's
I
literally
wear a whole
filtered.
suit.
Yeah. It's a whole suit.
I'd wear biological suits before in the military.
And then you get washed off after and before.
Yeah. Yep. And they're only good for so long because then they become saturated. They're only good. Your chem suit's only good for about 7 hours. At least it was back when I was in the mid 80s. That's it. And then they give you this big old shot. The needle is about that freaking fat, big giant hole. If you get hit with any kind of nerve agent, you jam that in your thigh.
Wow.
Right through your charcoal suit. It just, as you inject charcoal in, because the needle head is so big that you're going to get charcoal particles in it when you jam it in your suit. You know?
They can get infected quickly.
Yeah. This girl one time, she was smoking, right? As they hate it when I work next to people smoking. She's just talking away. I went in my locker and pulled out my chem mask. I started breathing real loud. I got in trouble for that. She went down to the APO chief. She was just talking away. And I was like,
Actually, people don't know what it was like back in the day. Everybody was lighting up everywhere back then. Airplanes.
oh yeah. I
Businesses.
mean, it's everywhere. That was part of the bar scene back in the day too. That was part of the ambiance, smoke in the air, filled smoke room.
Yeah, it went from smoking section, non-smoking to no smoking whatsoever. It's like, wow, they took your freedoms away that quickly. I'm not saying, it's still nice to have that freedom around. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. If somebody wants to smoke, that's honestly, that is totally their choice. I'm not going to put anybody down for doing that. That's totally their choice.
Yeah. I mean, there's poison in it, but I mean, you got to let them know that. But I think most of them already know. But you're painfully addicted because the shit they spray on it. Oh, if you ever look at one of those in a black light, all I did was, bar somewhere, I pulled it out. I was like, what the? It had all sorts of little splotches and dots and everything on it. I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
People don't pay attention. I mean, I know it was a menthol, but that doesn't make any difference.
Yeah. Well, it's just one of those things now, back in the day with the real cigarettes before they started messing with them.
Yeah.
There's people that lived the whole life. Old people, and they were just smoking straight tobacco and the paper. That's it. Back in those days, they weren't full of the chemicals and all of that. It was just straight tobacco. Now it's got 68 plus chemicals in it that you're sucking down.
I wonder what medicinal purposes that would have brought, because it is used for medicinal purposes. Remember,
Yeah.
and God did not put it there just for, nothing.
No, there's actually the book of herbs that disappeared. We think it went with Shem, but one of the angels came down and told Noah to write this stuff down. It was the book of herbs, and the angel told them after writing this, says there every herb in this book will heal any problem, anything, anything that's wrong. But he said also, if you did not sin, you would not need this book. The energy of sin, the negativity of it, makes you sick also.
And it's everywhere, especially now, like you just mentioned earlier. You got porn everywhere. You got violence everywhere. You got gluttony everywhere. Because I told you, it's called mukbang. I found that out about a year or two ago. What the fuck is it? They're paying people to eat, and these guys getting bigger and bigger and fatter. And I'm telling you, they got 2 buckets of KFC. They have all the sides of the KFC. Not just that, they also have tacos with that. And that's just one person, Steve. It keeps going.
Yeah.
Then they also got the Subway sandwich, and it keeps going and
You're
going.
making me hungry, dude. No, go ahead.
Well, that actually should make you hungry. It should actually make you go, ugh, MSG.
Well, no, I mean the you think of real chicken, hey man, some really good fried chicken sounds good right about now. With some potatoes and gravy and some,
Actually, that's what I can't wait for is, all these guys, their families and stuff that have their homemade little, like you said, mixings that they could do that's much better than KFC of the fried chicken.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The diners are going to start opening up here soon. I can't wait for that because I'm going to go support those long before I go to McDowell's or the other places
Oh
I just
yeah.
mentioned.
Well, McDonald's, man, that's
Well, they're talking about, he said, by the way, Kennedy, he did mention that he is going to bring back beef tallow, which is beef fat, to the frying machines. But I don't know if he's also, I forgot to, or I should have told him, or, I don't know if it was on one of his posts. But anyways, bring back actual real potatoes, because what they do is it's a mush. I didn't know it was a mush, and they just.
Oh yeah, those are
freeze it.
handmade because all the potatoes are perfect. All the fries. Real fries are not perfect.
Oh,
sorry.
Trump mentioned that, by the way. He said those fries that I made were delicious, whatever they were made from, after he worked at McDonald's.
Yeah, they did the real fries.
That was his quote.
Yeah.
Or maybe they were fake fries and he was just calling them out. Or not fake fries, but you know what I mean? The mush all together.
Simulated. Yeah, I know what you mean. But
and they're special, by the way. Go ahead.
Huh?
I don't know if you know this, but anytime I looked up McDonald's or got brought up, McDonald's actually has their own patented Idaho type potato that they have only for their fries, and no one else can use it. Kind of suspicious, but go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know what I don't remember what I was gonna say now.
It's like the only company, the only company in America that can import cocaine or cocaine leaves.
Coca-Cola.
Why do you think their stuff's so addictive? They didn't stop with cocaine. They just stopped telling you they put it on there. That's the problem.
And the bad thing is, I really don't drink hardly any soda anymore. But think about it.
Right.
I would prefer a Coke over a Pepsi because what you just said, it's like, man, I want a Coke now. What are you doing to me, man? Fried chicken.
Well, I'm getting hungry is why, because you ate before I didn't. But the other part is, you got to think about it. There has been, what are those guys that look underneath microscopes? Because someone literally grabbed Coca-Cola and Pepsi and actually proved that there was nanotech in there, or nanoparticles running around in their sodas now, which this is the kind of shit we need to stop. And this is where curse words are necessary because,
Top Ramen. I saw on one of the YouTube channels, they were one of the bio guys, chemists, were in a lab, so they put Top Ramen under the microscope, and they got freaking bugs on them. You're
Well,
eating parasites.
they got bugs, a bigger bug, Steve, as the before they grind it up, crawling on their in their factories. I saw a video of
Oh,
one of the workers did it.
oh yeah, no tell. Oh,
Oh, I
and
know.
that's
It's worse because it's like guys like you and me. Okay, we're broke. You know what? Let's do. We could do top. I mean, not literally. We could do top ramen for a couple days. I mean, you got beef, so do I. Or not beef, but you got meat in your real meat in your fridge, so do I. But
yeah,
not everybody has that option. Like for example, remember my cousin? I told you the tight ass loan shark that's north of me that we tried to get a loan and he wanted 5% or 25% for whatever we told you. You know, he wanted up front of the payment. Anyways, he's eating top ramen and all that all the time to save money. He's trying to be as cheap as he can. I'm sitting there and he's getting worse every time I look at him. He's looking older and more deteriorated because he's eating, you know, that parasitic full crap. And I
yeah,
feel because it's like, don't you know, you got to live because you have $200,000 plus. You have no wife, no family to give it to, and you know why don't you just enjoy your money while you're here?
yeah. Like, look what my son and I paid for half a cow. He could be eating really well. It wasn't. It was expensive, but it's not that bad for what you're getting. I
And
mean, I eat roast. I eat the hamburger I eat is roast, flank steak, and just hamburger. It's all mixed together because I don't, the flank steak. I just have them mix it and mix it in with all the hamburger. So the hamburger is really good.
you also got to know
Uh,
what you're doing too. Because if you're a useless man, you know what I mean? Like a man that cannot cook for himself and always depends on a woman to do so, then it's
I'd
you.
like to have some woman cooking for me right now. I mean, I like
We
a
all
little
would.
women. I know, man.
No, you know what I mean though, is
I know what you mean. I'm just being kind
like the beef bone will not do anything for anybody if you do not know how to make a broth out of it or you know a soup out of it or you know what I
well,
mean.
when you get, that's why when I do the crock pot because then the roast still has the bone in it. So that bone gets cooked really well too.
That's what adds to it. Go ahead. The
Yeah,
marrow and
it is. I mean, every roast I've cooked, and I do like the 6 hour a little faster, but I prefer doing the 8 hour one. Um, and the meat just falls apart, and it almost like it just you don't even need a knife. It just you can pull it apart. It is that good. And I noticed too with beef that you don't buy from the store, if you leave it in the refrigerator unfrosted for a week, it's still good. You buy stuff from the store, you leave it for a week in the refrigerator, it looks all brown and nasty and it kind of has an odor. But this stuff, because there's no preserve, it's all natural,
it takes
totally natural.
you could
Yeah.
go 2 to 3 weeks and then it starts to brown a little bit. Even when it's brown, just on the top, I
Yeah.
got one a steak like that. Like I bought remember I told you I finally got a T-bone again for $16. Not a very thick one, but that's what we used
Yeah.
to get. And it had just a little bit of brown. I was like, fuck that, I'm cooking it right now. And, you know, I cooked it that very same night and it won't hurt you. And that, by the way, FYI, that's the price the T-bones used to be when old Trump was in office. So don't tell me, oh, you guys are broke. You guys only voted because you're broke. No, we voted because of morals. We don't want child rapist and child fondler
Yeah,
or
we want a world that's safe for the children and women. We don't have the trafficking going on. We don't have the drug problem is pretty much will be subdued. We don't have evil gangs that will kill you and torture you when they kill you.
and rape
We
you.
want to have advanced cities like Trump's talking about building 10 very advanced cities, clean up the streets, help the homeless. Even if we have to build like a homeless encampment that's under supervision, at least they'll be clean, have a place to sleep, and they can eat.
And get
Uh,
rehab.
right, and give them opportunity because most of those people, if you gave them the opportunity, they would step back out of that life back into a normal life.
They're just
But
stuck.
when you get stuck, you get so far down, that how do you go get a job when you're dirty and stuff? Like you can't.
Or you don't have an address to go to, because remember,
Right.
here's the one thing people don't think about. Yeah, you go get a job right away. You ain't gonna get paid for 2 weeks in some places. Some places even more because they want to hold those last 2 weeks for you. So it makes it difficult. So, you're trying to get the guy to go there, then you got to get someone present. You're right, taking a shower, all that stuff everywhere costs money now because I believe immigrants and assholes have ruined the systems. Everything. All it takes is one asshole to mess up one thing.
Yeah.
And you just name it. It could be going and grabbing a donut. We used to have open donuts and everything, but no, some asshole went over there and spit on it or did something stupid. Now they have it behind glass,
Yeah.
and you had to go grab it with a piece of plastic. Everybody back then used to have common sense and respect for each other. Then you get the people coming in. It's not just there. Everywhere. Go
I
ahead.
remember when as a kid, you get Bear's aspirin or whatever, take the lid off. All that was in there was cotton. There was no seal over the top. And I remember when some guy was putting poison in some of those bottles. And after that, that's when they started sealing them. And look, now we have all these sealed bottles. Before, you just take the lid off, pull it. There's no seal to pull off of the inside. That you're right. It just takes that one person destroys it for everybody.
Because you got to think about it. There could be someone with really bad arthritis that can't find that little tab or that little tab go, because they found a way. You know what? If I make this a centimeter or a millimeter just thinner, then I could stretch out this batch to do 100,000 more lids or something, whatever. But anyway, so as you grab that off, then you're stuck with that part. And you can't get the thing inside, and you got to think about older people or younger people or
Oh yeah. And you got to
situations.
line up the lid and then push it down to turn it. And it's
And what
like,
happens when that breaks and wears out? Remember, I bought medicine from where you're from, not to, go out too much until we start getting more openly, but I got medicine from the state you're from. And I tried to open it. I kept that thing for years and I would use it, open it. And then one day it's like, you had to, and it wouldn't open right. Cause that little, that child proofing
teeth in
fucking
there
thing.
wear out. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, I
Oh
want
yeah.
some product. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Because if
Yep.
you drill it, you know what happens. You just add shavings into your flowers or your buds. I
Oh,
mean, and yeah, because I don't want to say flowers because some people might think Coke, but
well, you have to look at it this way though. All we have to do is, I believe, that a lot of the herbal stuff will come back. Because Shem went to the east. He was more, I believe, he was more Asian looking. That's where he came from. He's that same skin tone. And Shem was the most favored of the sons, of the three sons of Noah. And they believe that he's the one that got the book of herbs. That's why in the East, the Chinese, Japanese, they have the best hold on herbal medicine and herbal healing. Because I remember I had prostate problems. I went and talked to a Chinese doctor off Federal. He gave me these little green pills or herbal pills. And within 30 days, I was totally normal. Totally, totally normal. And it was just herbal pills. They were like this big. And they're $17 and there's no side effects. They're not pharmaceutical. They're just herbs. That's all they are. They're food. But you have to take them. But I also found too that my son has this stuff that he went to the men's health clinic for to bring his testosterone back. Now, instead of giving you shots of testosterone, this stuff actually blocks it literally fools the brain into telling it the body didn't have enough testosterone, so produce testosterone. Okay. Because he was real low. Now it's testosterone's way up there where it belongs. Now I tried something similar for about a week and I'm 62 and I can feel a difference. Totally. My muscle tissue was actually starting to rejuvenate. I went to the gym after not going to the gym for a month and I was stronger with more endurance. So I'm gonna go down and get my blood tested too and try that also. And that should help a lot. Helps with a lot of the brain fog, motivation. You know, it makes you driven like you were. That's why when you're young, it's like nothing can stop you. Business, like, and I had my limo business when I was 28. I was totally gung ho. Nothing can stop me. And so it brings back that kind of mentality where whatever in front of me, I'll take care of.
That's why I think the whole estrogen, trying to mess it up with soy and knowing what would mess up with men, because they don't want strong men. They want men with purses and going along to get along. They want the women to be the manly ones, which are you already know by track record that they are very submissive. You know what I mean? When it comes to a fighting, they're not like a man. They're not going to fight to their last breath. To a certain point, they'll just give up and
Yeah.
step aside, and that's what they want. Instead of, like I said, the men being men, they want them to be wussies. And take a look what's going on around us, dude. I mean, shit. People are they're almost willing to go down, get in the fetal position, start crying if you just say, I don't like the way you not
Oh yeah.
offending them, or what offensive is now. I mean, shit. Like I said, some of the stuff I say to some people, they go, "Oh, it's offensive." It's like, all I did say is just something normal, pointing out something, or why do you do this, or they fucking melt. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's just kind of hard to be
Yeah.
around.
You're a guy, and it's like, whatever, man. I don't care. You know,
Man up, you
or
punk.
you say it again, I'm gonna knock you out. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, seriously.
Oh, I know. No, I know. That's exactly what happens. That's exactly
Yeah,
what.
it's not like, oh, let me go to my safe room. Oh, let me go light my incense. Let me get my little flowers out and tickle my feet.
Oh no, my shoulder.
Yeah. No, it's
You gotta move
gotten,
your shit. My shoulder.
yeah, it's gotten ridiculous.
I
But
know.
you know what? All that woke stuff is going to start dying. It's already dying.
It is.
It's it's like the news media, the one that's going away, that's vaporizing. You know, you watch Charlie Brown, you hear his parents once in a while in the background talking to him. Wah, 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 wah. And that's all I hear. When I hear the news media now, it's like, wah, 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 wah. Well, okay, whatever. Doesn't matter. They're irrelevant. They are irrelevant.
Water.
They're the Titanic going to the bottom of the depths of the darkness.
It's like a water of the duck's back.
Yeah.
Keep swimming, and they talk about it, and I know it's just the retractions from the View is getting hilarious. Then you listen to all these other guys talk about this is going to happen with Trump, and then the UFO thing. Like I said, you guys know what the UFOs are? No. Well, is it military? No. Is it private? No. Then who is it? Oh, who's in charge?
Well, there are a bunch of the soy boys in there. We got soy boy generals too now.
Oh,
They're
by
the
the way,
TV generals are soy boys, not the real generals, the TV generals.
that's another thing, by the way. Juan was talking about that Trump is going to come in and medically discharge every single transvestite in the military because they're medically unfit to go to war. Because
Yeah,
they
medically unfit and psychological.
Yeah,
There's something wrong.
he said that too.
Yeah, when you think that you're a guy and you want to wear a dress, yeah, there's something quite not right there.
Well, he was also saying you're not in fighting status, in fighting
But
shape.
you're not. You're not because you're trying to take on that feminist side, and
And the hormone
not to
treatment.
say, yeah, not to say that come down to a battle, that, but it still isn't good for the camaraderie and morale of the unit. Because we even had, when I was in boot camp, we had it pegged out to the guys that went in the shower first. and stayed in there the whole time, and the last one's out. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But so we already had them figured out who were a little light in the loafers there.
Don't ask, don't
So
tell.
don't. Oh, dude, man, I dropped my soap. Oh,
That's it.
don't bend over. I'll just go get another bar.
No, you're right. It's yeah. I mean, I've heard of stories, stuff like that at boot camp where they know or because it's just like it is in regular life. They don't accept the homosexuality because it's also you talk about it. You say, hey, you worry about your wife and your kids because that's what's in normal life coming down. I don't care what their whole you're if this or if that. You know what I mean? Sexist or Zionist or what? They come up with all sorts of new phrases all the fucking time. It's hard to keep up with them.
Yeah.
They say the same thing about homos, whatever. But yeah, because if you have a he, she, it's kind of hard to. You mispronounced my pronouns. Boop, there goes his head. You have one less soldier.
Yeah.
I
Well,
haven't trusted her. Well, go ahead.
And once these guys are out, and I hope they get helped, the regular guys will go back in the military again. We'll have the people that will be like 1 or 2 term military guys or younger. They're going to be fit, because God would always say, you when you send the men to war, 50 and below. If you were above 50, God didn't want you to go to war, because that's when you start to weaken a little bit, or you may not have the endurance. Not everybody's that way, but I'm just saying.
Majority, yeah.
Yeah.
Until
Because I look at people now, they're my age, and they're so broken down. I was watching because people, I look at them, they're talking. I'm 62, and they go, "Why do I look so much older than you?" I don't know. Maybe because I read Psalms 91 a lot. God says He shall give you, you shall know His salvation, and He shall satisfy you with a long life. And it even says He protect you from diseases, pestilence, and war. And His angels will guide you so to help keep you in His ways. Yeah, all of that.
turning from your wicked ways too.
Yeah.
Of the promiscuous,
Yep. And we all still have our faults. I mean, as a guy, you're still gonna, you still have pretty good desires, and as a guy, you have to really sometimes push those aside. You have to pray about it. Huh?
Oh, you have to pray about it too. Sorry, cutting that off. But no,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm
yeah.
saying that you have to also, it's not just that, it's everywhere. I mean, dude, you could go to a Burger King and there, there'll be like or a Burger King commercial be a sex, or, any a regular commercial will be a sex.
Everything, even on TikTok, everything you see has a sexual connotation behind it. And quite frankly, as a guy, I mean, I love looking at beautiful women, but I'm kind of sick and tired of watching these women that are just doing yoga, the splits, or in their underwear, and it's like it's almost becoming a turnoff. It really is, because women are special, and they need to guard their sexuality. They really do. And only expose it to their husbands when they're married, because they have a special thing, and it's the way they're made. I mean, look, the Watchers even lusted after these earthly women that we enjoy too. Talk like an alien.
No, you're right. The on the subject as well is the women's rights. They're talked about when we voted for Trump. We voted for taking away women's rights. No, we didn't. We actually gave it to you because, I want next woman that says that in public. I'm gonna go. Oh, I'm gonna tell her I'm gonna follow you in the bathroom as you go pee, and I'm gonna stand right in the stall too as you go pee. Also, you say you have no boundaries. You say you want this. Here we go. I'm not gonna do it literally, but I'm saying just to try to give you a visual. But it's not just that. It's also take a look at that woman. I'm surprised there's no real damage. The boxer, that she didn't get her head caved in by that man. You know what I mean? The failure of a man, because first of all, he couldn't even qualify for the men's part. Because
No,
there's hundreds of men out there who go, hey, I'm not number one boxer, but still, I'm a man and I'm a boxer. They
right.
still, I wouldn't want to say pride, but they still, use the, or that's their work or their
Yeah,
job. They're
well,
not.
we're all built. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. We're built differently because we're designed for different jobs.
Yep.
Uh, and I feel like that now, because of what happened, if you ask a woman to search their heart, would you rather be at home taking care of the children and keeping the home front nice? I mean, you think about it, because women have that nurturing thing about them and gentleness about them. They have a way of making the inside of a house warm, because when they decorate from their soul, and the house is comfortable and it's pleasant. And that's stuff they provide. And then the guy, because he's in such a pleasant atmosphere, he becomes a much better provider. Okay, because a lot of these jobs that these so-called PhDs have, dude, they're going to go away. They're useless jobs. They do nothing for us, especially a lot of these government jobs. Oh, you got to have the PhD to be an accountant. What? I mean, to run a calculator and run some numbers? I need a PhD? Are you kidding me? I mean, I got to go into debt $250,000.
One of my favorite PhDs is at the zoo. I go, oh, you know what? I would like to go try to get a job at the zoo, take care of the animals and stuff like that. No, you have to get a PhD to pick up shit and feed an animal. And then, oh, the animal's sick. Well, of course, if you understand and know the natural behavior of whatever animal you're watching or whatever, and then they're not acting normal, it's like, oh, I don't need to. You're right. Go into debt, get my brain washed of whatever that professor feels like. Because remember, they give them full reign to do whatever they feel like. If they're going to indoctrinate your children, they will.
Well, and that's another thing that's being changed, and they're going to go after the endowments of the college, because these endowments are so huge. Which one was it? Like maybe Notre Dame or one of them. Their endowment is worth billions. They could actually pay for every student for 120 years at the current rate. So they have their endowment, they give it to a hedge fund guy, he makes a lot of money with it, and then their endowment grows and grows and grows and grows. Their prices go up and up and up and up, and they don't pay a darn thing in taxes on any of that.
Oh, do you know what also is messed up? Emery Smith and a couple other whistleblowers like him are talking about they're also a part of that 300 company that are deciding to change information. Oh, like fiber optic cable. Back in the 90s, they were changing that. Okay, we can't figure this out. Can you help us out with it? But they didn't get the full picture like some of the others would. They would say, here, can you figure out this one thing? And yeah, I heard about universities doing that, of having research facilities, not just Stanford, or not just what you mentioned, but Stanford, all the other Ivy
A
League.
lot of them do, and they actually use those research facilities to advance the technology, and those places get paid a buttload for that.
Did you ever look to see who owns colleges? I think I went down that rabbit hole one day, and then I almost mentioned his name. You know who said, "Oh, we're not doing that show." So I don't, but I do remember. It was kind of interesting. I would like to go find out who owns this, because, like, for example, we have Boys Town here, and Bill Gates has been known to visit here quite a bit. Enough to where, remember I showed you that ice cream shop has got his name here. And Boys Town has been known, I believe, for pedophilia for either girls or boys. I forgot which one. And then you got the Franklin credit scandal here. And then my friend Steve, the other Steve, not you, Steve, that worked at the Omaha Press Club, got taken to the basement one day while he was drunk by Warren Buffett's people, or Warren Buffett, one of the two. And he got to see some of the stuff in the basement. Not like woo-woo stuff, but some of the older tunnel, I think, until it leads into the bigger part, because they didn't get to see full of it. And then I didn't hear the rest of it. I can get the story from him. He's still alive, but yeah, some of this stuff is quite interesting. I wonder if all this is going to start tying back in together.
Well, it would make sense for the colleges that have been propagandized the students to be owned by people like George Soros, Bill Gates, Klaus Schwab, people like that. That would, because those people end up, because they have a degree, they're the ones that end up getting these high positions, and they become bureaucrats, and that's what happens. And they've been programmed to think a certain way, period.
Yeah, parents come back, or parents say that their children leave one way and come back another.
Yeah.
They leave back Susan and come back Sam.
At that age, you're still pretty. Because I think about when I was in the military, right? Because the field I was in, we were taught to think that the Russians, the Soviet Union, they're our enemies, they're gonna destroy us. But come to find out, they're teaching their people the same thing. But that's not how those guys really were. And that's not how we really are. And so you're like, the Russians are the enemies, the Soviets. And yes and no, but actually their technology sucked. Their stuff didn't work very damn well. Ours did. Our stuff worked really well, to be honest with you.
Actually, a matter of fact, so well that they had to retire a lot of it, is what I heard.
Yeah, they Clinton killed our peacekeeper system. That was one of the newest missiles we had. And then only thing we got left in the field now is Minuteman IIIs. And their 60s technology, they work very well. And there's stuff about hypersonic, I'm trying to wrap my head around it, because the Minuteman III, I'm not even going to say how fast it is, but it gets there in 90 seconds, and it's way faster than they're talking any hypersonic missile. And the warheads on reentry vehicle are more than hypersonic. But yet we were able to practice on those, and I'll leave it at that.
I think that would be an interesting conversation for you and Juan to have. I mean, to be edited out, but for you to, what you know, and he knows what he knows. I don't know if we discuss it over a phone, but you know what I mean? Because it's just like me and drag racing. If I get with somebody, I'll go, okay, here's a topic. How do you guys tune it? Or, how would you tune a car? Knowing that, same thing with you. You would talk about stuff that we wouldn't know, but he would know of, fast, or, because like how you're trying to comprehend how it does that. There was also a podcast that we know mentioned that same thing you're talking about, the hypersonic missile, that interviewed with Juan. Since the last time it was the Nicholas Veneman show, I'll just say that much. Well, you'll start getting it. Said that the hypersonic missiles fly like 50 feet off the ground. They go just like this right over buildings. Exactly what this man told me. Right in my face, said it can literally just do that. Go right over buildings, right over mountains, all that. And I'm sitting there.
First of all, when you're going hypersonic, you're about 45 to 6,000, and you're not going to be going do like that.
Because
how much that eats up. Seriously.
That's what I'm about to say. The correction, because if you think about an aircraft, dude, remember how overshoot that they have at a certain radius, going, that I've heard about from the Blue Angels or Thunderbirds talking about it, or other pilots on a pilot podcast. But go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, well, you think about the X-15, that speed, they said it's 4,500, but it was faster than that. So at a lower altitude of 4,500 miles an hour, it starts to glow pretty freaking good. So when they would land, the canopy was like melted. You couldn't see through it. So what they did is they coated it in cork. And then they had this wire you pulled. And when you pulled the wire, it would cut out an oval opening on one side of the canopy. So they coated it in cork to protect it from the heat. That's how fast that thing was going. The Minuteman missile, it's also covered in cork. Not the first stage. The first stage is green and it's fiberglass. But after that, the second stage, all the way up to the warhead, to the reentry vehicles, to the missile guidance platform. There's a cone on there that's made out of titanium. That doesn't come off until after the second stage. Once the second stage is lit, then it comes off. I can tell you how it comes off. I don't want to.
You sure you're not telling out too much information already?
No, but they're made out of titanium to handle a lot of heat. That's how fast that stuff is. I'll tell you this. It's faster than any hypersonic missile that people are talking about. And it gets there in 90 seconds.
Yeah, and that's where while we're on that subject, I think we're behind on the Iron Dome. That's what I think Trump is going to start on this year. And it's not going to be rockets. I think we're going to have technology outside of rockets, because they keep mentioning, Juan and Trump both keep mentioning nuclear and beyond. What is the beyond? Is that Tesla technology? I know there's parts of it, but what
Well,
else?
yeah, the Tesla technology, like the death ray and all that. Now, I was at Vandenberg when we were launching, probably shouldn't say this either, SDI. I was there when we were launching SDI. I saw lots of launches go off carrying that stuff up. And I guess I'll leave that at that too.
We'll say you don't.
So to say that was a fantasy, they're full of they're full of bull crap, dude.
Oh, a lot of this. Well, hey, also, hey, how'd that get through the firmament? Remember how we're talking about flat? Not we, but for a while, you and I have been joking around about the flat. How's that get through the firmament?
Yeah, well, this is what I think about the firmament. When the Earth flooded, that's no longer solid. I think there's resistance there with humidity, moisture, but it's not solid like it used to be.
And you just mentioned, by the way, about the spacecraft. There are not spacecraft. Sorry, you mentioned about the missiles, which is old as crap. Because there's actually a video out there. I have to find in my 40-something terabytes of a rocket flying and a spaceship going around 3 different times, shooting at it, or a small white ball, doing something at it, and then it blows up seconds afterwards. But also, we've seen multiple videos of some sort of crafts where it, switches and gains altitude, loses altitude. There's military pilots that have confirmed it, that they've seen UFOs. Think about the thing they just shot down up there in Alaska last year, I think, or beginning of this year. The Tic Tac. They didn't talk about that. They squashed it. They had something pop up in the news right after that. They're trying to keep it silenced. There is technology.
Well, up in Alaska is where the Black Pyramid is.
Oh. There's also one in Antarctica too. This Black Pyramid. It's just got white on it.
Black Pyramid's up there inside of a mountain.
Oh, this one's outside. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, that one's inside. And there's lots of pyramids up in Antarctica. There's pyramids all over the earth.
In China too.
there's also star forts everywhere. And Statue of Liberty is built on top of an ancient star fort. Look at it. The platform, it's a star fort they built on top of. They built on top of it.
I like to go there one day, actually. Go to no, the Statue of Liberty, and actually see myself if her foot is actually chained.
Yeah.
I
I don't
already-
know. Interesting to see.
Also, we already know that it's Masonic, a gift from France to here. There's all sorts, and it actually it's not just Masonic. It actually supposed to represent Lucifer.
Yeah,
And
I don't know about that. I really don't know.
some people compared his face of a drawing. I don't know how people have the drawing face of Lucifer.
No, Lucifer, when you get into the testimony of Adam and Eve, when they came out of when they were cast out of the garden, and after they like died like 5 times and brought back to life because they were so blown away that, after leaving the Garden of Eden, when Adam and them got right to where they were going to go out, a voice called Adam, said, "Adam, come here." And so Adam walked out of the cave and he was horrified. It was Lucifer. His sin was so great that he became very horrifying looking. And Adam was fearful of him because he was so horrifying looking. So to say that face looks like on the Statue of Liberty and what Adam described, I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, the other part is that makes me think too is the no graven image of a heaven above or below, and Lucifer was or Satan, whatever his name is. Well, don't say his real name, Steve. I know it's tempting because we have a podcaster looking for to control him is what I'm trying to get at. Just the.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead, please.
No, I wanted to let him know that's why we're trying to stop it, because he believes that there's power in it and wants to control Satan. So anyway, with the forgot where I was going with it.
Yeah, he won't control him. He'll get vaporized. But go ahead.
No, I forgot where I was going with the Lucifer part.
Well, actually, he is being controlled by it because of the stuff he's doing.
Oh, I know. I got
one. It was going from the Statue of Liberty's face, and I described what Adam saw after the Cave of Treasures when he saw Lucifer.
No graven image above and below. I just don't know where I was going to go after that part, because of it says don't do any of that, and he was an angel in heaven, and I don't know what book it was or where he said it was his favorite. It was God's favorite musician or something like that.
Yeah, he was a musician. He had instruments like coming out of him.
That's why the music is that way.
That's why the music is what he uses to control us with. That's why it's at 440 hertz, where it's destructive, instead of 432, where it's creative and smooth.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's not just that. Think of all the catchy tunes. All you got to do is just mention Thunderstruck to some people. Or
or even now, the House of the Rising Sun. Nobody knows where that song came from. Okay. Through research, I have found that the melody went back probably 1,600 years. Yeah.
Makes you think. And then remember, we're not the only civilizations here. They got the mud floods, the Terra, because of the World's Fairs are coming back. I hope they're going to be just as exciting and as good as they were before. We need to start talking.
Yeah. Well, we need to find those pictures of the World's Fairs, because those were actual beautiful buildings. And I need to find the pictures of the rooms with all the babies in the incubators. They were incubators. Well, sure, it's like me. Yeah, it's like me getting a recopy of the 1775 Bible, and then, like you said, put a camera over it. And then that way I can point to stuff, turn to pages, turn to the book of Ezra, and turn to chapter 14, verses 45, and we see how many books really did exist versus what we have right now.
That-
Yeah,
that's
stuff. And then go to the other part of the book of Ezra, second Ezra, where it talks about the zombies. Even in the 66 canon, Zephaniah talks about zombies.
Huh.
That's where Hollywood got it from. But the book of Ezra is more elaborate. It says the earth will return the dead, at which point they died. So whatever happened to them is how they're going to be reanimated back into life.
Did you see the book of Sarah in there?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, no, I had to remote view that one. That's in another dimension, so that has to be remote viewed.
Oh, okay.
Sarah reminds me of the song Sarah. I ain't gonna sing. Break out.
I know. It does remind me of that, but no, on the lighter side, it does. But the society needs to start seeing, because my aunt goes, well, where can I find that? Where can I, and my mom is fumbling it. She won't listen to me. I was like, if my aunt asked me where can I find that, I'd be like, okay, here, I got a video for that, I got a photo for that, I got a photo,
Yeah.
there's sometimes links for it, but sometimes the links disappears. And then if you go to, what is that, Wayback Machine, they even scrub it from there. It's like you almost have to record it. Like, for example,
Well, I heard the Wayback Machine got hacked and they scrubbed things out of it.
okay. I was just also the military. They had a C-17 where it had the shipping container like what you have, Steve. It was literally inside there, strapped
Yeah.
down, and it was for a self-sealed container with its own atmosphere and all this other stuff. It had 20 photos of it. I got the photos, but I sent the link to you know who, and then it happened to disappear within 2 or 3 days of that point.
Wow.
Military scrubbed it and everything. I mean, I hope I didn't mess anything up, because I didn't know he was the enemy at the time. Because you think someone out there telling the truth about basements of military areas would be truthful, and then also quoting God, which he was only getting the stuff from you, because real people that are believers, study the Bible and have our scriptures that we quote, because you sit there and, okay, hold on, let me tell you the whole verse right now that I have on memory. We have our points that God tells us to get, scripture wise,
Yeah.
and then go from there, get our points across, because we got to get it done quick. It's taking the information from you and messing it all up. Not just that, but some of your life stories, same thing. And then also, yeah, no, I'm not going to impersonate myself, but
Yeah.
what I mean, we have liars out there, open liars.
Well,
Or
it seems like, what I'm getting the feeling of, a lot of books were read, a lot of stories, and all of a sudden those stories became that person's life
Mhm.
because there was nothing in their life. That makes sense.
Yep, I know what you mean.
So I've had a pretty awesome. I mean, I've done a lot of stuff, man. I got to do a lot of things. I've been a lot of places.
Well, I like to hear about how the Bush thing, not well, I mean, one day you're going to have to say it unless you want to say it today. The Bush, how you got him arrested.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 I wish I had that info still, but it got stolen out of my locker. That'd be my story. Along with my missile books, I had a whole freaking bunch of books, layouts, all kinds of stuff for the missile system. They
Of
took
course,
all that.
of course, it's got to be a storage. Was it just a padlock on it?
Well, yeah, no, it's like a regular door, actually. It was the days when people really didn't steal. And I went in there and the door was jimmied and a couple boxes were gone, and that was one of them. And I had the whole copy of everything we delivered to Tip O'Neill's office. That was a blur to me. I didn't know what I was doing at the time. I didn't realize what I was doing. And I didn't realize how dangerous it was either. Yeah.
Well, people don't understand the same thing nowadays, is what I feel, is they don't understand the dangers that they're in. They want to go meet the Jay-Z and I'm talking like there's women that dress up, scantily clad, thinking they're gonna get into Beyonce's position is what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. But get
Yeah, that doesn't happen because when you're a wealthy man, refined, beautiful women are a dime a dozen.
and
They're like, huh?
P. Diddy. I don't know if you've heard about it. He likes the P. Diddy dark room, you know what I mean? I'm saying that's what others have said about it. I'm not saying
Well,
he
I just saw a thing on here too where three more people come forward, three guys that was raped by P. Diddy. They're suing him for rape. They were drugged and raped. Two pilots. This was a story I just heard the other day. One of the pilots came forward, but they had their company got a great contract deal flying P. Diddy to his island. And so these two pilots were flying, but they were made comments like they looked at the kids and the children. There were children on it. They thought it was weird. And the children, you look at them, their eyes look dead, like they were disconnected. And they can hear in the background partying going on, yelling, and then it gets quiet, and then out of control, quiet. Well, when they landed, one of the guards came up to the pilot, said, "P. Diddy wants you to come in and have a drink and relax and then enjoy the party." So they said it was more like an order. So they did go in there. They had to change their clothes, and they thought they were inappropriate clothes to be wearing in there. And then they both got a drink. They gave them a drink, and they neither of them wanted to drink it, but like the guard was like to the point of forcing them to drink it. And he said it tasted bitter. And then they woke up. They were in a different room in a corner laying on a bunch of pillows. And they felt like they could hardly move. They were hurting so bad. And so then a little bit later, P. Diddy had them come down to one of his rooms down this weird hallway. They said it was really weird. And he pulled out a videotape. And the drug they gave them, they didn't remember a thing they were doing, but they were doing things that would destroy their lives. And P. Diddy basically blackmailed them and saying they could never talk about anything that went on there. He paid him really well, he said. They suitcase of money, but he said it had altered his life completely, knowing that video is out there of them doing things that are absolutely wrong. So these guys were trapped and they were drugged into that situation. That just came out not too long ago. There's all kinds of stories are going to surface here.
these people are messed up.
I'm telling you, man. When I had a limo company, a lot of those people's lives behind the scenes you think are all famous and rich, most of them don't have two dimes to rub together. And they're some of the most miserable people you ever want to be around. Now, one of the drivers I had spoken with, I drove some other people to this concert. I can't remember who I took, but I parked next to another limo. I chat with a lot of drivers who they have, we're just chatting about all kinds of stuff. One guy, like, he was like totally dismayed. He was like, just like washed out, like in shock. And I go, "Man, what's wrong with you?" He goes, "Dude, I had Madonna in the car. That woman, I have never heard a foul mouth so foul as hers." Yeah, it was so negative, it drained his energy. That's how negative she is.
I feel that we also knew someone that was an energy vampire, and I believe that's real.
Yeah, I do too. Now, on a more positive note, I had also picked up Cheryl Ladd and her husband. Cheryl Ladd, without makeup, is probably one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen, without any makeup on. She was very nice lady. She wasn't fake either. She was just nice. Her husband name was Brian. He was super nice guy too. But the friends that hung out with her, they were snots. So when I pulled up, there was a new Mercedes with a broken tail light sitting in the driveway. That was her friend's car. A few months later, I went and picked them back up again, took them down to Santa Barbara. I dropped them off at a restaurant because they were going to get picked up by another car and taken to LAX or fly out of Santa Barbara. So I went back and had to pick up their kids, take them to the new house. But the second time I picked them up, those same stuck up friends, like 6 months later, I think it was, that Mercedes still had that broken tail light. They're broke. Now, Cheryl Ladd and her husband, I think they managed the money very well because they built a beautiful home in Santa Ynez. It was absolutely gorgeous. But the friends weren't. And then I went to Michael Jackson's ranch also.
Neverland Ranch?
Yeah, I was there at Neverland. In fact, I think I was there a couple of times.
Any nefarious?
No, I took when there was a big wedding there for what was her name? She married a construction guy, some famous actress. I'll remember her name in a minute. But I had the Nelson rating family in the car. The head family. Remember people do the Nelson ratings back in the days?
I remember.
Got them in the car. So, but we were there. I dropped them off. I went in front of Michael Jackson's. Dude, man, that guy likes flowers, man. I smell lilacs. It was smelled. In front of his house smelled like, ooh, it smells really good. You know, not a super big house. It was a nice house. But then we went back and parked by the barn area and then I watched, he had a train that went around his whole complex. I watched Tattoo from Fantasy Island go by. He was sitting on the back of this little train and his legs were just kicking, you know. And then Michael Jackson actually had his cook. There was like about 7 of us limos in a certain category of people we were brought in. He had his chef cook us like steak dinners. Yeah, Michael Jackson told him to directly himself. So he was actually, you know, honestly, that dude wasn't a pedophile. He just didn't have a child's life. And so he had sleepovers with these kids trying to reenact being a kid. So he was trying to figure out what it was like because he never got to be a kid.
Oh yeah, with the Jackson 5 and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, he said dad was horrible. No, but he was actually, the man wasn't a pedophile. He's actually a very nice person.
They just discredited his
That's the Illuminati, because he was trying to warn people about the Illuminati, and then his doctor murdered him.
were you around the white Jackson or the black Michael Jackson? There's
The
two
white.
different types. The white one?
Yeah, one with the nose falling off.
Okay. The clones. Hold on.
Surgery.
The clone Michael Jackson one, you mean?
Yeah, the white one with the nose that kept falling off.
Well, no. Remember, everybody's BS was saying without tangible proof that he died at the Pepsi commercial, and then ever since then he's this clone that they keep regurgitate.
I don't know. I actually saw him. I was for some reason I was in Santa Ynez, and I watched him come down a road hauling ass. It was him in the car. I recognized him. It was a 4-door Dart restored. He drove it incognito, total incognito.
I didn't know he drove.
Flying around the corner, it was like leaning, and I could tell it was him behind the wheel. I go, damn, that's Michael Jackson. Just blew by in a restored 71 4-door Dart. Yeah,
It wasn't a VA, but was it?
it could have been. It could have been a 273 Commando under the hood. It would have been pretty fast. But yeah, man, when I had the limo company, it was like 3 years. I don't remember much. I was 28 years old in the thick of all of that stuff.
Well, that's
It was
difficult.
quite, it was quite, I don't know, man. 3 years, it was a blur.
Well, no, I was thinking about, have you seen Naked Gun where OJ is sitting there and he's the driver and they start making love or something like that in the back and he grabs the mirror and takes it off and then he puts on a bigger one or something like that and he's sitting there looking in the back and driving like this and starts wrecking or something like that. That's what I was
Um,
getting at. Or and then he turns around and starts recording it, with the old fashioned, big
yeah,
one, stuff
dude,
like
I'm
that.
telling you, what went on in the back of those limos?
You actually you might want to be very thankful it's leather, basically, right? Because you can wash it out.
No, this is where the blue suede seats in those days. I did a lot of steam cleaning.
Yes, ooh, suede and crusty.
Dude, it was just insane. I'd look back at that now, and that was like insanity for 3 years. I almost recovered the company right at the end because we went into Iraq War, and that caused a recession. So that was one of the things that died out.
Yeah.
But it was coming back again. But the guy I bought the company from screwed me really bad. But he got a mess back after he did that.
I was gonna say that seems to be a trend, by the way. People screwing you over is what I'm getting at. Like if you
Yeah,
fast
it
forward
is. It
nowadays,
really is because I trusted. I gave him. I was like a payment behind, so I gave him a $6,000 check, and I told him to hold that one, and then I gave him another one, and I said, wait to cash in another couple weeks. He cashed both of them, and he just financially destroyed me where I couldn't make my car payments on my good cars. So I eventually had to turn everything back in because once you get behind, but that was actually starting to come back around even in recession. It was starting to come back up really strong. So I turned in my 9-passenger Lincoln Town car and I took it back to LA, and the guy I dropped it off to, dude, it was like violins playing, smoke in the air. This guy was like the old time mobster gangster. And he goes, "Oh, well, the car, you kept it really nice. You know what? Anytime you want to do business again, even though this happened, you just come on down here and I'll take care of you." You know,
that's good.
but he was an old time mobster, you could tell. But he would have, if I wanted to restart my business, he would have helped me. He would have helped me with a couple cars.
I'm just
But
if this was someone coming in to bankrupt you for knowing what business you're doing, because you remember it happens. Like for
yeah,
example,
well, I went that guy, and after I did the drop off in DC that I did, that's when everything went really bad. That it went bad. Business was attacked. And I think that guy was contacted to do that because they didn't have any other way to take me down. Evidently, they couldn't touch me. So they upended my business on me because it was still doing pretty damn good, you
oh,
know. But oh, yeah, dude, it was like cloak and daggers for the last year when we were interviewing all these people. And I was with Ross Perot's private detectives, a couple of retired detectives. Dude, as in these rooms, we're interviewing these people, and I'm right in the middle of them, talking about JFK assassination stuff, talking about everything that George Bush was doing that was not good. But at this point, it doesn't matter. But anyways, yeah, Ross Perot had all that put together. We had stuff, and we delivered to Tip O'Neill's office.
there's a
That was
dartboard. in the basement in DC with your face on it.
Oh, there is. They know who I am.
Or the
That's,
322. Huh?
that's probably because that's probably why we weren't messed with.
Probably. Well,
That's
no, I'm
probably
saying
why, huh?
no, I'm saying that they're hating you. You have a little dartboard where they're sitting there throwing darts against you.
Oh yeah, they Bush Senior, the Bushes knew my name. Trust me. But it was so funny, man. When we were up in the Capitol, I had my attaché case, my London fog jacket, pinstripe suit, black sunglasses, 2-day growth on my face. My friend Michael Thomas, he was like 6'4". He had his black suit on, about 4 days of growth on his face, black glass. It was just people like were staring at us and getting out of our way. But we walked in Tip O'Neill's office. He had to go to a meeting last second. But his secretary said, we'll just go in his office and go ahead and put the information down on his desk. So we walked right in there and put the info down and left.
Should have made copies.
Well, I did have copies.
Mm.
They were stolen. Back in those days, the computers weren't nearly as advanced where you could put them on thumb drives. They were like a floppy. And the floppies were unreliable at best. They would lose data and break down.
I was just thinking about printing, like copying, because back then, remember we had what was that place that literally was nothing but copying?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of copy places you can go in and get things copied completely. Yeah. No, I had a copy of everything. That was just it was just an instant. It was a blur. Then I tell you what, down in DC, they're so promiscuous there. Dude, I was at a bar and I was standing in line to go to the bathroom. The women were not shy whatsoever. Let me put it that way.
Are you sure they weren't ladies of the night?
No, they were not.
Hmm.
These were office workers, women from congressional office staffs.
Okay.
Yeah, they were there. We were in one of the restaurants too, where a lot of the Democrats went. And Michael and I were like right behind a table full of senators. And the Democrat senators, one of them said, we have to keep our constituent really stupid so they'll keep voting for us.
I could picture you saying that because
1990, it was 2 days before the Iraq war took off. I remember
99?
that. It wasn't in 99.
No, 90.
It
No, there was
should have
also
been October 90. I mean, it was in 90. I don't remember the exact date now. Yeah, that was crazy stuff. Like I said, I have not had a very boring life. Not at all. Now I'm about to go into a whole new adventure and turn the Christendom upside down. There's other people out there doing that too. I want people to know the truth.
we're all being
Sorry.
called is what it is, Steve.
Yeah.
In our own ways. Because remember how the feeling that you were getting, I was getting the same feeling of wanting to do this or give out truth instead of sitting back and going, okay, yeah, that's some truth. That lie, okay, hold on, well, another lie, and getting tired of sitting there and listening to it all. And then you go to the comments, and then you could comment, but then it might flash by. No one sees it. No one cares. So it's hard to
Oh
see
yeah.
information. Like I've tried to save a couple different people's lives. They go, they got cancer and this and that. Okay, B17, and here's another list. CBD will work, real CBD. There's I give them a huge list of just simplistic things that you can go out there and go buy it and eat it. You don't need to go through chemo and thousands of dollars in that.
Oh, and that's what makes me upset is these little children, these people are suffering when all you got to do is give them ivermectin with other couple of ingredients, or you give them natural stuff completely, or that you just tell them to do a major fast for a few months. You know, the fast, eat a little after like 40-hour fast again, because then the body will automatically go kill the weakest, useless cells in the body, and that would be cancer.
And they've made the food so bad that you can't do that. Because you remember, we mentioned earlier in this food of the beef or anything like that. If you cook yourself a hearty enough meal, you should not be hungry until 16 hours, sometimes even 24 hours later, because
Right.
the meal would have actually gave you food. And then our bread, don't get me started on that. I found out that we were missing like 8 or 9 ingredients in our bread. It wasn't just wheat, it was lentils, it was beans, it was
Well, why? Yeah, why do they call it enriched? They strip it. They don't want us to have those minerals and vitamins, thiamine, all of that.
Steve, when you grind it together is what I mean. The wheat, you're right, has been stripped too, but the wheat was one, but also there's beans, there's lentil, like there's 7 different plants or seeds. I don't know what those would be, what peas and all that would be.
Yeah.
Beans, you know, are all together. That's how you're getting all your omegas and omegas and the acidic acid or whatever the amino acid.
Yeah, everything you need, because it used to be contained in the bread we used to make.
Yep, because we're not cooking with those anymore. You know, those ingredients with it. We're just doing wheat. You know, they cut out all the other 9 grains.
Well, even the wheat is no good.
Bingo.
The wheat we have is useless. It's actually poisonous to us. That's why people go lethargic when they eat bread. Too much of it. It makes you lethargic.
Well, they also want they went from, you know, maybe a couple tassels on it, you know, not a couple, but maybe a dozen tassels on it, to now let's put 50 tassels. Now you see it's leaning over because they want
Because it's too
product.
heavy. Yeah. Oh yeah. They don't.
It's
It's
just
just crazy the stuff going on right now. But it's going to get fixed. It's getting fixed. It needs to get fixed faster. You know, but it's going to get fixed.
the missing books say that, you know what they are, the Enoch, the lost book of Q, the what was the other one, the Adam and
Q
Eve.
is, yeah, there's not. I've never found anywhere other than it's only implied that book existed, but I don't know. Because I did buy a commentary about it, the Book of Q, but it was just talking about, yeah. I just stick with the all the books that's in the Apocrypha, the testimonies, the Book of Giants. There's a lot of books that tell us the whole story. They're going to tell, and then when we eventually redo DC, we will discover our true history as far as the mud flood, Tartaria, why there are so many orphans, what the incubators, what the you know, all the state fairs that went on.
What Earth really looks like, and if you're a deceiver, here's a ride for you. Go right outside out, you know, into space. Go look at Earth. You go around and come back. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I think because when you look at the picture of Earth, it just doesn't look right the way they made it. It just doesn't look right.
Well, every time they edit it, before you go, every time they edit it, everything is dark around it. You don't see, like, they edited that part. I don't know if they're trying to edit the shape or they're trying to edit the traffic, because I've actually started seeing some more raw video of the moon, of, you know, something coming out.
Oh yeah, and I saw a picture the other day that there were thousands upon thousands of ships leaving the Earth.
Ooh,
And that
I'm hoping.
was back in the 70s, I think that picture was from.
Oh crap! I was gonna say, I was hoping it would be the Ellen DeGeneres is leaving and the Robert De Niro's leaving.
That's one miserable man there, man. He is very short. the soles on his shoes are that freaking thick because he is so short.
I didn't even notice it in the movies. They must have had to edit it so much.
Well, they find he'll stand on something. Then like even Sylvester Stallone and what's his name, that black guy that used to, that fought Rocky. Can't even think now. That guy.
Yeah. I don't know.
Sylvester Stallone's not that tall.
Really?
Claude Van Damme is real short too. These people aren't that tall.
The only way I have to base their height is Planet what was it? Planet Hollywood. I went one in California and I went to one in Hawaii. Back in the day when I was younger, they were cool, but now if you think about it, it's like it's kind of creepy. You know what I mean? Have you been into one? Yeah.
Yeah, Planet Hollywood. I think I was one down in LA. I went to one. It took a kid on one of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. I guess he wanted to go to Planet Hollywood. That's right. We took him in the limo.
That's
I
pretty
used to do that too. I used to take sick kids, pick them up for Make-A-Wish Foundation, and sometimes I'd even wear my chauffeur's hat. One girl called me, "Can I call you Antoine?" Sure. Put my chauffeur's hat on. She called me Antoine.
make the kids' day. Yeah, that makes it nice. It's just
Yeah.
too bad they
Yeah.
went through all the poison and stuff. And then that Make-A-Wish Foundation, that makes me start wanting to look into that one too.
Oh, I know. Now it's like after the stuff I seen and I know about, it's like,
Watch, Steve. You look into the stock market. Who owns it? Vanguard and BlackRock. Son of a they own everything. You know what I mean?
yeah. Right now they do, but they're buying into the crypto world like crazy too. What's that tell you?
The United States government is about to inherit a lot of cryptocurrency because that's another thing. You're right. Shit, I should have looked at that executive order to find out. Trump said
Oh yeah.
the executive order where anyone caught human trafficking, caught with children, anything like that is going. All their assets are going to be seized and a part of the United States government.
There's one other thing too that was in that. Anyone committing damage in the earth.
Oh, China's fucked.
Yeah. So anybody that's also damaging the planet, the same thing goes for all of them too.
Haiti.
We're going to watch a lot of these corporations and these rich people become, well, they're going to have to work at McDonald's.
If they can make it there, because to be honest with you, I don't know. They might not have McDonald's there at Gitmo, Steve.
No, I know. Well, it's happening. We just have to watch it
and be patient.
We'll see it when people start seeing the rest happening. And all these people saying, "Oh, they were arrested a long time ago." This thing will be